Welcome to California in Focus. I'm Eliana Kernodle. California Governor Gavin Newsom is visiting President Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. to seek wildfire relief funding just after the state legislature passed bills to fund lawsuits against the Trump administration and deportation defense of illegal immigrants in a Newsom-called Trump-proofing special session. Joining me with more on this story is the Center Square's California reporter, Kenneth Trupp. Kenneth, tell us about this visit.
Hey, Eliana. Newsom is visiting D.C. trying to get a lot of federal wildfire relief aid. He passed a $2.5 billion state relief bill, but with this fire expected to cause hundreds of billions of dollars in damage and be the costliest natural disaster in U.S. history, more federal funding may be necessary to aid in the cleanup effort and to harden against future fires.
What has Trump said about relief funding in the past?
Well, on his way out to California while stopping to visit victims of Hurricane Helene, he did say that he does support some conditions such as the adoption of voter ID laws and better water management for California. Recently, in the last few days, he also announced that he's seeking a federal investigation into the state's high-speed rail program, which has gone significantly over budget and over time.
This comes as the California Assembly voted to fund lawsuits against the Trump administration, as well as deportation defense for illegal immigrants. How will this play into the conversation?
Well, at a time when Governor Newsom is trying to get money from Republicans and the Trump administration, it does not seem like it would be to his advantage to eventually sign these bills. $50 million set of bills. The first is $25 million for lawsuits against the Trump administration, and the other is $25 million, mostly in legal aid for deportation defense of illegal immigrants, is something that has been part of a so-called Trump-proofing special session that Newsom has called. The timing of the session could not have come at a more difficult time for Newsom. And given that he does need to cooperate with federal officials and President Trump to get the money and support he needs. There are a lot of ongoing battles with California that could end up having to come to the forefront of this as we see Newsom asking for more aid and Trump puts on more conditions. Again, we talked a little bit about voter ID. That is a big issue in California, where the city of Huntington Beach actually adopted a local voter ID requirement for just municipal elections, resulting in the California legislature passing a law to ban local voter ID. So courts did uphold the Huntington Beach law at first before the new state law took effect. But now that the law is in effect, the state has appealed the ruling under the new state law. So we're going to get full adjudication on whether or not the state even has a right to ban voter ID at the local level. Speaking more to the high-speed rail plan, we did just see a report come out from the California Inspector General, who does oversee the state's high-speed rail plan, saying that it's not going to be done by even the delayed 2033 timeline, at least that initial 171-mile segment connecting Bakersfield and Merced in the Central Valley, which is very sparsely populated. That section is expected to cost in the mid-$30 billion range and probably will not be done until 2034 at the earliest. It also has a $6.5 billion funding shortfall for just that initial segment. Again, this isn't the whole Los Angeles to San Francisco segment. This is just connecting two cities in the sparsely populated Central Valley, and that will not be done on time or on schedule. Remember, this project was initially approved by voters in 2008 to the tune of about $10 billion. So having taken decades just to break ground on this project, in January of this year is a serious indictment of the state's ability to do basic things.
Well, Kenneth, it'll be interesting to see how California and the Trump administration work together or don't in the coming days. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.